is really where this whole discussion is coming from, and that's where it's starting, is because people are noticing a pattern, and that pattern is just the difference in compliments that people get when you have one type of facial feature versus the opposite. But also just a lot of women sharing their frustration with feeling as though they don't look woman enough or they don't look grown enough even though they're of age. So obviously cutie patootie is meant to
I be feeling bad, like them girls that be like 4'11", like they like children. Wait, don't. And this is the reason why you would never become a baddie. Let's get right into it. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe.
Release me!
I think it's time for me to admit that I'm not a baddie. I'm not a baddie. The first thing people always say is like, oh my god, like, you look so cute. I look cute? Didn't pay this much money to look cute, sweetheart.
Call me something else. Like, the word cute is something you call a kid. You can't be calling a grown woman cute. I find it very belittling. Like,
there was a period where I hated being called cute or cutie patootie.
I mean, I get this, but like, I mean, it's better than being called ugly. You feel me? Like, you still look good. People are called ugly, a 2, bottom of my shoe. Like, the list goes on and on. Like, let's be for real.
Everything of that nature.
I can't escape it. It doesn't matter what I put on. It doesn't matter how much makeup I put on. It's giving cute. It's not giving sexy. It's giving cute.
Do you want to give ugly?
Do make you look younger, and that's not even to make it seem like it's a bad thing to look young. It really just is what it is.
Let's set the record straight. Your natural hair does not give childish. You do.
So as you guys just saw, there is a very popular debate happening amongst the girls, and I'm not even gonna lie, this is high-key TikTok coded because I have not seen this discourse really happening anywhere else other than on TikTok. But nonetheless, this whole debate is about cutie patooties versus baddies. So there's a lot to unpack here, okay? But
they both look good though. I mean, like, I feel like it's even a privilege to even be talking like this. There's some females out here just want to be called pretty. For once. They overlooked. They called it 2. They never get approached. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
disclaimer, this conversation
I'm already
is
not feeling
obviously
it.
not limited to or
Already
just
not feeling
involving
it.
only black women. There have been a lot of young women and young girls of all races partaking and chiming into this conversation. However, when I did put cutie patootie versus baddies in the search on TikTok, I mostly saw black women actively speaking on this and making the most think pieces about it, and I thought that was very interesting. And I also don't think we can deny that the term baddies in general is very popular within the black community. So that is why I definitely want to talk about how this conversation can definitely impact black women in general, and does this conversation really just stem from insecurities? But with all that being said, let's just get into today's video. Hi, what's up? Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melinda, and if this is your first time stumbling upon my channel or seeing my face, welcome. If you are new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button and join this community. We are
Subo,
currently on the road to 2,000 subscribers. We are very close, but as I will always say, feel free to make that decision at the very end of this video. So with that being said, let's just get into this whole thing about cutie patootie versus baddie. And first of all, we need to actually establish what the heck is a baddie. What does a baddie represent?
Yes,
what is
like,
the
let's
template
define
to a baddie?
this.
One thing we know for sure is that the baddie aesthetic basically started with and was popularized by black women. But the baddie aesthetic is just an aesthetic at the end of the day, so women of all races can choose to present themselves as one. But some people like to step into other territories, if you know what I mean. The cultural appropriation is real. For example, Alabama Baker.
I'm so up to fight. Never had an egg heart. I'm gonna call y'all bitches Lucy Lou.
Guys, I am having a tired, slow day.
And everybody,
I'm trying to tell you, and I said this already, like, her and Sexy Red would just be the example. Like, they stay being the example of what not to be.
Else who follows that archetype.
Sad.
They definitely 100% throw their hands into whatever black women are doing. But I think in the black community, the base overall template for a baddie that we see all the time, 24/7, scrolling on our timeline, is usually somebody who's rocking a middle part jet black bust down or any type of wig. Very rarely or minimally wears out their natural hair. And if anything, when they do wear wigs, they're not necessarily wearing one that mimics their natural hair texture to a T. And that is a whole other conversation for a whole other time. But I did actually make a video discussing this a little bit. So if you're curious on what I had to say, definitely go and check it out. It'll be somewhere linked on the screen or in the description as per usual.
But later in this video, we will discuss how some black women often overlook their natural hair when discussing how to achieve that grown and sultry look.
But besides hair being a big factor, they usually have big lashes, or they always have their nails done, and they definitely always have their face beat to the teeth. And the outfits, of course. We cannot forget the outfits.
That caked up face, out of everything, the caked up face would number one be the, like, let's just scratch that all together. Like, some people might be like lashes, the nails, the wigs. For me, that caked up face, it's just a no-go for me, because I just feel like it's just too much. It's just too much. And I'm not saying, like, never do it, but, like, you feel like you need to leave the house with that on? Nah.
Which are usually revealing or form-fitting from head to toe. I'm sure some of you guys remember one of the worst fashion trends that came out of the baddie aesthetic.
But this whole debate did not start based on things that you can manipulate. It's not about the add-ons per se, the things that you can easily have access to depending on if you're willing to spend the money or not. You can choose to go to Sephora, buy all the makeup necessary to give yourself that baddie look that everybody has.
Or getting your lashes done to the point where you can fly or you can't see.
You can choose to go and invest in a whole new closet of wardrobe to match and fit into that baddie aesthetic. But one thing that you cannot change that easily are your facial features. That is one thing that you are pretty much going to be stuck with for the rest of your life.
But I feel like with that caked up face, like, it really just give the opportunity to do that. Like, I'm trying to tell you.
No matter what you do, unless you go under the knife, which that is your decision, there is nothing wrong with that. But unless you surgically alter your face
or you go get Botox or fillers,
you will be stuck with whatever facial features God has blessed you with. But that is really where this whole discussion is coming from, and that's where it's starting, is because people are noticing a pattern, and that pattern is just the difference in compliments that people get when you have one type of facial feature versus the opposite.
But also just a lot of women sharing their frustration with feeling as though they don't look woman enough, or they don't look grown enough, even though they're of age.
So obviously, cutie patootie is meant to.
I be feeling bad, like them girls that be like 4'11", like they like children. Wait, don't. Wait, hold on, because it's just like, wait, did I really just say that like out loud, right? I did. I'm not gonna lie, like, yeah, like, you 4'11", like, you are like I'm not saying you look like a child, but it's just like being that short, like, to me, it doesn't give grown too much, unless you have certain features or whatever. Like, if you got like body or in your face you look older, then yeah, but like, you being like, just being 4'11", you just real chiquito in my heart, like, you just real small.
Describe somebody who has very soft features, rounded features, chubbier cheeks, full cheeks, somebody who's doe-eyed, is that the right term? Just somebody with big eyes, and that just looks very youthful, versus what people attribute as being a baddie is when you have more of a chiseled face. You have very strong features,
or your features just give off a very model-esque allure.
I think baddie can be both a noun and a verb. Walk with me here. When I think of baddie as a noun, I think of somebody who kind of fits the description of what many people would consider a baddie aesthetic. One who maybe more naturally kind of embodies sex appeal that is palpable. Then you have baddie as more of a verb. So that is like you embodying whatever the baddest version of yourself is, in however that looks for you.
And so a lot of people who fit into the cutie patootie look have noticed that when they get complimented by strangers or their loved ones or whoever it may be, they are often hit with the, "You're so cute.
You're so adorable. Oh my god, I can just grab your cheeks
and I could pinch them.
I just want to squeeze your face."
Like, please. I am not a child, and this is where I could put both my hands up and let you guys know right now that this is what I'm referring to when I say I can relate to people, because I have extremely chubby cheeks. It may not look like it so much in this video, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cameras, they be changing things sometimes. A lot of people mistake my age, and a lot of people think I'm way younger than I actually am. I'm 22, going on 23 this fall, and a lot of people can easily mistake me for being like 18 or younger. Till this day, it haunts me every so often.
They really do, though. And I know that has to be annoying, but it's so funny. I say the same thing for myself. Like, I'm 21, people think I'm 17. Like, what is even giving? I mean, my face gives that. That's one thing where I feel like just like if you have a conversation with me, like there's no way in hell you think I'm 17. I'm just keeping it a band. Like I'm too mature. You feel me? But like, yeah, I see it, and I guess when people see me, they probably see the same thing too. But I won't see it in myself because it's just like I'm my age. You feel me?
Really where a lot of people's gripe is, I would say, where a lot of people who fit into the cutie patootie look, they just don't appreciate feeling like the world looks at them as childish.
I was a senior in college and I had on, y'all, my auntie bought me a suit. I went to the job fair and I'm dressed, I got my heels on, and this lady kind of waves me down. She's one of the vendors. Waves me down to come stop at her table. So here I am thinking, like, oh, like maybe like, you know, job, or, you know, maybe I look really professional. And she proceeds to say, I just had to tell you, you were just so adorable. You were so cute. Like, I just want to squeeze your cheeks. I'm in a suit. I am learning the older that I get. I'm 27, going on 28. That cute is my adjective. I'm cute.
Another thing that I think is really important to mention that I do want to talk about is what this debate honestly reminded me of just a little bit. I will actually exclude the facial feature aspect for this point specifically. I'm talking about like hair. An issue that is very, very, very prevalent amongst Black women is feeling as though our natural hair makes us look childish, which I think is so crazy and so problematic. And the reason it's
like, am I not hip? Like, I never heard nothing like that. What's wrong? What?
Problematic is because if we start to attribute things like straight wigs and long wavy wigs and bundles and all of the above as being grown sexy and mature looking, then some people are going to continue to believe that their natural hair officially and automatically makes them childish.
I feel like the key to looking your age when you have your natural hair out is to make sure you're putting like makeup on, like a cute outfit or like jewelry on, and I feel like that makes you look like a grown woman. Like, I have all my jewelry on, I have makeup on, like I'm looking like a grown woman.
Well, no, that's not cool though, because then like you kind of like telling people like if you wear your natural look, you're not gonna look older, and like I feel like in a way that's putting a negative light on wearing your natural hair, and it's like there's nothing wrong with that. You feel me?
Because I am. But if I didn't have all that, I feel like I would look like a little 12-year-old.
And that is definitely a problematic thing. We cannot let that cycle continue and convince ourselves that, for example, your natural hair is the one thing that's gonna stop you from ever achieving that grown and sexy look, because that is so wrong, and that's definitely not the case.
Another thing about looking young for your age, specifically as a Black woman, is like I know if I put on a frontal, I'm gonna look older. If I get a frontal, get lash extensions, not strips, I will probably look my age, that is 22. But I don't want to have to compromise my naturalist hairstyles for looking older, you know what I mean?
We cannot continue to put the Baddie aesthetic on a pedestal and all the superficial things on a pedestal. It requires constantly having your hair done. That is, if you have this backward belief that simply wearing your hair in a natural hairstyle is for some reason your hair still not being done.
Just found out I'm chopped and also unk.
What if I don't want to slick down my hair and my edges or put on a wig or get some braids? Y'all consider all that your hair being done, but why this can't be considered my hair done?
And that can even hinder the health of your hair.
You do not care about your hair being healthy, you care about your hair being done. And I'm not saying that healthy hair cannot look done. I'm saying a lot of you guys want an aesthetic over the health. Just realize you don't care about the health of your hair, and that's okay. And get out of them people's comment section and go get your sewing, knowing your hair gonna fall out.
No matter how grown you are, or no matter how you present yourself, and no matter all the little things you may do to try and change people's perceptions of you and how they view you when they first meet you, unfortunately, you're still gonna be hit with the "you're so cute, you're so adorable, you look extremely young, how old are you?" And I think that plays into a lot of people's minds.
Am I the only one who thinks being called cute after a certain age isn't a compliment? By calling me cute or adorable, you don't make me feel like a grown woman, you make me feel like a girl. And it's like I feel like I always have to take the extra steps to look more mature. Like I can never just do some silly shit. Like I always have to go the extra mile to look more mature, and that shit is so annoying because why do I have to do extra shit to look my age? Like, why do I have to go through extra steps to look more mature than most people my age? Because what? Because what you could have said was that I'm pretty or I'm beautiful or I'm fine, but you didn't. You said cute. So it don't make me feel good. It made me feel like an insult because why did you say cute? Correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to be able to take that as a compliment, but in my head, you just call me a little girl. You basically just sunned me, bro. You daughtered me. Am I bugging for thinking that cute isn't a compliment after a certain age? If you ever see me and you say, oh, you're so cute, I'm gonna say you're so ugly. Because calling a 23-year-old woman cute is not a compliment. In fact, half the time it happens is because you want to be like belittling, and I'm not getting belittled by any bitch.
I think a lot of people start to feel like they're not going to be taken as seriously, or they're not going to be seen as mature, because a lot of the times when you see a really young person or you see a teenager, a lot of people tend to already stereotype them and have their own presumptions. So that feeling is very common amongst people who fit into the cutie patootie look. They just feel as though no matter what they do, or no matter how many times people tell them,
just fix your makeup, just change your hair,
change your wardrobe,
try to appear more grown.
You've maybe already tried all of these things, but unfortunately, your youthful facial features are just never gonna change. So at the end of the day, you're just gonna have to force yourself to embrace it and accept that you're just going to be the cutie patootie versus the baddie who often has the privilege of being seen as the woman that they are. They're not gonna be mistaken for someone who is 10 years younger, and people may even take them more seriously because they already have that grown, mature look naturally in their face. And I feel like some people who say,
well, you should just accept being called cute,
because cute is still a positive compliment at the end of the day. But it's just the fact that cute is a word, is a compliment that a lot of people will also use for children and little kids. So I can understand why a grown woman will feel some type of way if cute is the only compliment she receives. And obviously, this is not anything new, you guys. Like, it's really basic science at the end of the day. It's natural for humans to see somebody with a strong jaw who has a very slim face to be seen and perceived as grown and sexy and mature.
Side note, the hustle to look grown fast is also a huge issue amongst young teenage girls who sometimes look older than women of age.
You're 19?
Yes.
You look older. That's not a compliment.
Which can put them in very dangerous and vulnerable positions, all because they want to look and feel like a baddie way beyond their age.
Versus somebody with round features. This is just human biology. We already know that
people should just grow naturally how they want to. But like, when I feel like when the youngins do it though, like, it'd be a parenting thing at the end of the day. So yeah, I really don't know, because I do feel like makeup is a grown thing, wigs is a grown thing for sure. I think nails is cool, lashes, I would probably consider that a grown thing as well. You feel me? So when you let your kid do all of it, just everything under the sun, even with the outfits with it, like, they're gonna look more grown. And it's just like, I feel like nowadays not everybody's really knowing their place no more.
You're naturally going to be seen as more youthful, and anyone can argue that that is obviously a blessing in disguise, because the older you get, the more you're still gonna look young, and that is pretty much something that every adult wishes for as they age. So it really is a blessing and a curse depending on who you ask, depending on how you look at it. You could choose to be a lot more positive and optimistic about it, but I do also understand how it can make you feel some type of way. And I think obviously the baddie aesthetic, as we've seen over time, and just the IG baddie aesthetic, like all the baddie aesthetics above, they are definitely so incredibly difficult to maintain. Any woman that considers herself a certified baddie, a self-proclaimed baddie, will literally tell you that it is not something easy to maintain, because like I said, you gotta spend that coin. So many different things that go into it, and it is a lot to keep up with, and a lot of people just don't be having that energy. A lot of people don't want to spend money on all these things frequently, especially in this economy. It
don't even be the money, it really just be the time. Like, damn, like getting braids, bro. Like, you want to be in that chair for 8 hours? That's a shift. 8 hours, you could have been making some money. Like, I know I'm really keeping it in the band. 8 hours, you could have been laying down resting. Like, I'm being so for real. That be taking a minute. Like, even with the nails, like, you get those long styles, like, that's 2 hours. Lashes, like, you there for, if they good, 2, 3, but like taking them in like 4 hours, like, it take too long.
It's a lot to maintain. Too long. And at one
Only
point,
24
you have to
hours
ask
in a
yourself,
day.
literally, what is the point? Like, what am I actually doing this for? Is it really worth trying to change how I am automatically perceived by other people? And obviously, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, this whole thing definitely does stem from insecurity. Comparison is the thief of joy. And when we often see how certain women who look a certain way get praised on social media, get praised in real life, the type of compliments they receive, I can understand that it can definitely make you feel some type of way. It could definitely be difficult to not internalize, and obviously, again, it could be dangerous territory putting the baddie aesthetic.
But it's like you're basing your happiness off of external validation though. Cause like, if I go on Instagram and like this one girl, she getting a whole bunch of comments, like likes and feedback, like, what the hell does that have to do with me? I'm really like, let's really be for real. Like, oh, I'm not getting, like, what does that have to do with me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who cares? But people are just not having that mindset. Like, people are basing how they look based on how the world is treating them. And it's just like, at the end of the day, you have to feel good about yourself internally.
On a pedestal, because it could start to warp people's perceptions of self, and it could definitely convince people who may not have the strongest self-esteem that their natural self isn't enough. So I guess the main takeaway with this whole debate is definitely seeing how a lot of people used it as sort of like an outlet to just express how they feel, and also just observing a pattern that we do see quite often in how some people receive compliments. And when you see that pattern at first, it can be very alarming, but when you start to realize that at the end of the day, everything revolves around confidence, everything just comes down to how strong your perception of self is. And obviously when it comes to like the add-ons, you obviously can work on your makeup look, you obviously can go out and buy the thing that you think would actually help you achieve that baddie look. And it's not to say that it's impossible, that it may not actually work. It definitely can work, but don't be surprised if it doesn't work to the extent that you want it to. And at the end of the day, you guys, being a baddie is really just a mindset. It's really just a way of thinking. If you walk into a room, no matter what you look like, and you are sure of yourself and you know who you are, trust me that people will bounce off of that energy. It is extremely undeniable. But with all that being said, that is pretty much all I have to say about.
Let me know what y'all think. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch y'all next time.